and ready to amp up the heat on the concrete slab owners. Dragging their feet to get this application in by the end of January.
You're gonna need
I sent a,
come first, sir.
well, not the first tranche, the second tranche.
Anytime I take us.
But
Not at the moment.
today's
I would
approval.
love to go up to
There's good.
I guess this time of year.
I previously.
I haven't been to the UP in the winter, so I was in northern Michigan, Frankfurt.
Good morning. This is the Richland County Board of Commissioners. I'm Darrell Banks, Commissioner with fellow Commissioners, Tony Vero, Cliff Mears, Clerk Stacy Call, our Administrator Andrew Keller, and from HR is Kelly.
Christensen.
Yeah. And the Sheriff and Captain Zahner and Captain Sweat. From the media here with us is Greg Kale from WMFD, and we have Carl from the News Journal, and no, Carl is from the Richland Source, and Al from the News. Al?
Nope.
Okay. Well, we would like to, can I get a motion to go into executive session to discuss the Sheriff's Union contract?
Some of
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero.
yes.
Greg, I'm sorry, you got that all set up,
Tell you what,
but you can leave it there.
Make sure that light's red when you step out there. No cheating.
make sure you hang up on Carl too.
Almost all readers
It fluctuates on a day-to-day basis. And in the law enforcement part of the deputies on the road, we are somewhere between 6 and 9 that will be short by about the 1st of February. We're projecting some retirements in there and so forth. We're not quite as bad as the city of Mansfield as far as manpower, but we have issues too. And hopefully this contract will help with that endeavor as far as recruitment.
And I guess with the increases, you take like lateral transfers from people that have training, right, from other offices.
Yes, we do. And actually, we did this years ago. What we did was with the deputies contract, we allow lateral transfers from other agencies and from the jail. And basically, deputies, when they come in, they're on probation for 1 year, and then at the end of 1 year, they go to top pay, which really helps the sheriff's office in the recruiting effort, because a lot of agencies will have like a 3-year or a 5-year scale to get to top pay. Well, the sheriff's office, you go to top pay in 1 year, and that helps with recruiting quite a bit. And then the captains are excellent about making sure that we get qualified candidates, and that it just moves forward for us. It's not necessarily about quantity, it's about quality. And that's what we endeavor to do, is have qualified and really good deputies come to the sheriff's office.
Okay.
Don't have questions because the sound wasn't on.
Okay.
Carl?
Yeah, I guess the sound came on when I heard Greg asking a question, so I have no idea what was voted on or discussed prior to that. I assume since the sheriff's there, we're talking about a new contract for the sheriff's deputies.
That's correct. Fair contract effective January 1st of 2022.
I'm sorry, yeah. How long is the contract for?
It's a 3-year contract, so it's 1/1 of 22 through 12/31 of 24.
And can you kind of give some of the highlights of what the contract entails?
Sure. Well, as I explained to Greg, his question was similar, and this is a very mature contract. So you get to a point where there are very few substantive changes. So most of it was cleanup and some administrative. The biggest topics discussed were economic, and we did settle on 5, 3, and 3 over the term of this agreement.
5%, 3%, and 3%?
Correct.
That's some Carl Hunnell like money right there.
Yeah. And how many folks are in the bargaining unit? Is this strictly sheriff's deputies, or what are the ranks
Yes.
involved?
27 at this time, and it is just covering the deputies.
And is that road patrol, or is that doesn't include corrections officers in the jail? These are strictly patrol deputies.
That's correct. Oh, and detectives.
And when you say it's a very mature contract, how long, can you give us some idea how long this particular contract's been around?
1988 is when they organized.
And I wonder too, then, Evan, if you could give me every single
And
scenario.
any significant changes to other benefits like healthcare or vacation time, anything like that?
No, everything remained current contract language there.
There might still be, after 2 or 3.
You got a convention going on there, Carl? We're getting noise.
No, I'm sorry, Commissioner, I'm in a working environment and there are other people working here. I try to mute when I'm done asking questions. My apologies.
I thought the working environment was down the road at the News Journal.
Uh-huh.
Any other questions, Carl?
Just real quick, Sheriff, are you pleased to have this contract done? And when did negotiations start? And happy to have it taken care of?
Oh, absolutely. We're very happy. We got very high quality staff, happy with the deputies, and we're hoping that this will help in our recruitment efforts to bring qualified candidates to the sheriff's office. This is the first time I've been sheriff I'm in my 17th year. This is the first time that this contract has been signed before it expired.
Hey, excuse me, I had just one question. What union is this?
It's the FOP, Ohio Labor Council. Deputies.
I think Carl asked all the other questions I would have had.
Sorry, Al.
Hey, that's all right, as long as they get asked.
Okay, it sounds like we don't have any other questions. We appreciate the hard work from all of you and appreciate that the deputies cooperated and get this over with.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Thank you.
Hey, Jimmy, I talked to Greg today about the EOC and 911. He's got some master plans. He's
Perfect. So thinking like middle of January.
Yeah, middle to end of January.
Perfect.
Right, Greg? Isn't that what we said?
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense to get somebody like that can come in and record it all, and then we
We're
can.
gonna have the chamber. I mean, we're gonna do it right. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
all right.
Any
Ready to go.
news from Lucas?
I have not heard anything. Actually, I was just having a conversation with Andrew about the lease agreement. We're getting that worked out between the village and everything. So we're hoping next couple, maybe a volley or two, and we'll get that done. But we'll just leave it at that. But in the spirit of friendliness. But anyways, I have not heard that they have anything, because I know they were supposed to on Monday to start moving ground to level everything out to get the pad ready, so they could actually officially break ground and start drilling for the potholes or whatever you want to call it, for the digging and for the sort of legs stanchions or whatever. But at this point, I have not heard anything from Amanda that says that they're ready to do that, but I will let you folks know when they're officially start digging, so we can.
Daryl's gonna be a shovel.
Good luck, 35 foot, and that's times 3. So yeah, but I don't think they have a whole lot. I mean, you've been out there to the site work to get it prepped. It's pretty level as it is. There's not a whole lot of groundwork that's going to be done for them to be ready to do it.
I was surprised when I got to the top of the hill and there was a spot for it without.
Yeah, it plateaus out pretty quickly. I mean, all the way pretty much from there all the way over to Berry Road is pretty flat right there. So, but we're hoping to have everything ready to go. Everything's still on pace to be completely operational, all aspects, by March of 2022.
Okay.
Still on target.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Guys.
Thanks, Jimmy.
All right. Well, until
Dan's standing out there.
Dan's standing up.
I'm in the door.
Andrew, would you bring Dan in? Come right up front here, Dan.
Thank you, sir.
What's up, Mr. Seckel?
Just another beautiful, beautiful day in Mansfield, Ohio.
Darn right. In the garden sunshine spot of the universe.
It's settled in.
You want to go move on to some?
I think.
The original bids back here.
Thank you.
Dan, you're here to review the bids and want to give us a report on what you found out. This concerns the domestic violence shelter project.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I think the letter is pretty self-explanatory. It's just a recommendation to accept the low proposal from Studer Obringer in Washington. Find it properly executed in technical form. It's got all the bonds, it's got all the paperwork, acknowledges the addendum. The base bid was $267,000 and the published estimate was $265,000. So it's well within the 10% to be considered a legal bid. Studer Obringer, if you're not familiar with them, they're a construction company that's been in business for over 50 years. I've probably done 20, 25 projects with them. You have a picture of the new Kingwood Center Garden sitting right here. They were the general contractor for that. So in my opinion, impeccable credentials. Always had very good with them. I've spoken with them. I've actually received a schedule of values from them already that they've broken down their bid and their major subcontractors and everything into the various categories. And that all looks appropriate to me. Okay, so we did take a bidding alternate to do another area of the building. And the Domestic Violence Center, in talking with Kathy Azawa, they have decided not to accept that alternate. So the recommendation is to just take base bid. We got into a little thing, you've heard the word inflation and escalating costs and
Is that true?
so I think we did pretty good about rearranging the bulk of the work to get it done under the budget. It was a CDBG grant. It is for $285,000. There's obviously overhead costs and everything like that of getting this project done. So the recommendation is for Studer Obringer, $267,000. And if that is appropriate, I've actually taken the liberty of going ahead and preparing the contracts, Stacy, to get a prosecutor for.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes. Okay, well, Dan, thank you. And thank you for the explanation. Appreciate it. And for you in the media, we can, could you send that to us electronically?
Certainly can.
Send it.
I'll send it to Steve.
Okay, Dan,
I'll
one
have-
question.
No, go away.
What section of the work did they drop?
The alternate was within the existing building for the domestic violence shelter. The entry is at northwest corner on the lower level. There were some interior alterations to revise where the reception office was, the advocate's office, and remodel some bathrooms down in that area. That is the area that has been not accepted. The bulk of the project was to take the neighboring building to alter that and then to build a link between the two, and that was.
And when do you expect to start construction? Is it a spring project, obviously?
No, we'd like to think it's a winter project. It's all inside. Well, pretty much all inside, the most of it. We've waited obviously for the commissioner's approval before we can apply for a building permit. So that's about a 30-day process right now. Mobilization time for the contractors and everything would be about that anyway. So we hope to get going in January.
And how long do you think the project will take, Dan?
We had in the specifications 210 days, which is 7 months. I don't look for it to take that long, but that was for a liquidated damages clause that's standard in the contract. So quite frankly, I look about 5 months.
Any other questions?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
I will announce that the annexation hearing is not occurring today. We had a withdrawal from the application, the permit or the petition yesterday, and we will start over again in January.
Oh. Clayton Herald's empire will not grow as of now.
Well, in that case, let's go to other.
You got it.
Cody's coming for the American Rescue Act, so if you want to skip that stuff and wait till she shows up. She's still coming. We told her 10:15.
You talking about Linda?
No, Jody Perry's gonna come for the ARPA stuff.
Okay.
Okay. So can we certify the record of proceedings for December the 6th?
You want to do 6
And
and 7? So moved.
Second.
Thanks.
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Mears.
Yes.
And can we approve the requisitions?
I just have a question, Stacy. I don't know if this impacts the requisitions, but you have the same numbers on some of them. Does that?
Yeah, it's,
anything?
no, it's the requisition number. It's the second column
Right.
that actually matters.
I figured.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So moved.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Mears.
Yes.
Okay. And we approve the transfer request.
Second.
Thanks.
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Mears.
Yes.
We're gonna wait for the American Rescue Act. Down to utilities, and we have applications. The first one's for Columbia Gas, Lexington Spring Mill Road and Hanley Road. Plans to tie into existing gas lines along Hanley Road and run a 4-inch gas line north through Lexington Spring Rail Road, and north of Owens Road to the Mansfield Water Treatment.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
And the second one is Columbia Gas, South Main Street. Gas plans to tie into an existing gas line and install a 1-inch plastic service line to 1740 South Main Street.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Vero,
Yes.
And how can we authorize the reinvestment fund for the COVID expenses?
This is with applause, right, Stacy?
Yeah.
Because this is it, right?
we have
Well, but I mean,
we have two more reimbursements.
Right.
I get checked.
Yes.
Yep.
This was the last, even though then it came in front of the other reimbursements. So with applause to the Richland County taxpayers, we utilized every single cent that came into Richland County in coronavirus relief funding.
I'll second that motion.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Rivero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Okay, we talked yesterday about changing our meeting dates for the last week of December. Commissioner Mears can now not be here on the 29th.
Let me amend that. My son's coming in that night from Utah. We're talking about Wednesday. If we have it early enough and I can, they'll probably sleep in after the long flight. So
How early you want to have
we
it?
make it 8:30?
Commissioner Banks wanted to do 10
Commissioner Banks is
Oh,
because he's coming from,
No, my wife has changed.
Oh.
We will now come home on Tuesday night, which is no big deal.
So what time do you want to have it on the 29th?
how long is this meeting going to be?
Oh, it's going to be short, half hour to most.
at the very most, it'd probably be 10, 15 minutes.
If we can do an 8:30, that'd be great.
Okay.
Okay.
Let the record reflect, Commissioner Vero remains as flexible as always,
December 29th,
And
at 8:30.
30 in the morning will be our last meeting of
I think since we're changing the meeting times, you're gonna have to bring in something for celebration, Cliff. Right?
well, I did, once again, the old curmudgeon, as you call it.
Curmudgeon.
Curmudgeon has negotiated and has
Limited flexibility.
yielded to the
Look at you
freshman,
two.
freshman.
And I'm just a flexible sandwich in the middle here.
Thank you for all flexibility.
I gotta,
Okay, we're going to stand on recess until 10:15.
now I gotta go change my schedule.
seeing like the songs of the week or whatever they have them on the wall.
That's the highlight of your week.
My 8-year-old nephew got obsessed with that cassette player over Thanksgiving that my aunt had. So I'm gonna buy him I'm gonna buy him a Walkman for Christmas.
Which we're going to see in the very next Netflix installment of Stranger Things, which is always
A cassette player.
Okay, this is the Richland County Board of Commissioners. We are back in session. And we have given a request from Lynn Frary for a transfer. You want to take money from the insurance line item, health insurance, and move it to the salary line item.
Let me explain myself a little bit. So
And we thank you for explaining yourself and not just sending a request and then saying you'd have to lay off people if we don't approve it. So we kindly thank you for that.
so in 2021, I lost a combined total of 56 years of experience between two supervisors. And I really underestimated the amount of training that we would need to have deputy clerks under our contract provide to our new hires. So that's the reason.
Thank you for the thoughtful letter. Makes sense. We know what the labor situation is. So with that being said, motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Okay, thank you, Lynn, and sorry for your loss.
Thank you so much.
Okay. We are here to talk about the American Rescue Plan Act. And Jody Perry from the local area Chamber of Commerce has joined us. And thing we have to do, am I right, Andrew, is we have to authorize approve the notice of the award. And then we have a sub-grant.
Yes.
You want to do this in let's do one motion then now to, I'll make a motion to approve the notice of award to the Richland Area Chamber and Economic Development for the distribution of small business grants as previously discussed. The total amount of federal funds currently obligated to this notice of award is 1,016,000.00.
And Commissioner, I'd also recommend just reading on the second page, the supplemental narrative description into the record in the form of a resolution.
All that? Okay. Part of my motion. That's why we hired this guy. Is for food and beverage, entertainment venue and lodging and tourism grant program, which is designed to provide relief to county businesses within the travel, tourism, and hospitality sectors that have been negatively impacted by the effects of COVID-19. The leisure and hospitality industry experienced an approximately 24% decline in revenue and approximately 17% decline in employment nationwide due to the COVID-19 public health emergency. The Richland Area Chamber will design and implement a program offering grants to documented eligible sector-specific businesses that have experienced revenue loss and unplanned costs as a result of COVID-19.
Second that motion and resolution.
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
And I have here the food and beverage, entertainment venue and lodging and tourism grant program. Sub-grant agreement between the Richland Board of Commissioners and the Richland Area Chamber of Commerce.
Motion to enter into the agreement.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
We'll send that on to the chamber for Jody to take care of and then send it back to the signature.
So you don't want us to sign it now?
Not just yet.
Okay.
Oops. Sign here.
That's, so, as the board is aware, this is the second Enact sub-award that the board has issued. The first sub-award 2 weeks ago, small businesses in Richland County, where we partnered with Jody and the Chamber to run a small business advertising campaign to encourage people to be mindful of the impact that COVID-19 has had on county small businesses. Today is our second sub-award, which also is designed to support Richland County businesses. You hear a common theme, and that's underscores the commissioner's commitment to Richland County businesses. This is sector specific, so it's going to be designed to assist those businesses within the travel, tourism, and hospitality sectors, because as Commissioner Vero read just a moment ago, they experienced a 24% decline in revenue from the pandemic and a 17% on average decline in employment. They were hit very hard. And we have a large presence of that sector in our community here in Richland County. So it'll consist of grant awards available via application. You have to qualify through your business having a documented reduction in revenue due to the pandemic. And again, the Chamber has graciously agreed to partner with the commissioners to administer this program. It's going to be a lot of work. So we expect a lot of participation. And again, businesses will have to demonstrate how they were impacted by the pandemic and then be eligible for awards. But I've done enough talking. I'm going to turn it over to Jody for a moment.
Yeah, I know we've had a lot of calls, and I know you have as well, from businesses that are interested in this. So we are planning to launch this shortly after the first of the year. So since we're right up on the holidays right now, we're going to take the next couple of weeks to finalize the application form. We need to do some internal testing on that form. I do plan to be able to announce the firm dates, hopefully within the next couple of days. I just want to make sure that, application and all that stuff is settled, as well as the guidelines. Around the holidays, we'll probably do some online training and informational sessions for people. And the big difference between this one and the last one is they will be on a first come, first serve basis. So I don't want people to panic. And so we want to make sure that we have plenty of time to talk about what the grants are going to cover before the application period opens. So we're going to plan to do that. It will be recorded so people can watch it at their convenience. Of course, all on our website, just like we did before. And then as soon as I have a firm date, as in terms of the opening period, I'll of course put out a press release on that and make sure that everyone is aware of it. But, as Andrew said, I do know there's a lot of businesses that are in these sectors. So, we're expecting not as many grants as the first round, but potentially similar dollar figures because we're also offering slightly larger amounts depending on the loss of revenue. So, we're largely following the state's program with a few small tweaks to make it fit Richland County a little bit better, but otherwise we're basically kind of replicating what they've done. And I know businesses are continuing to struggle. Not all of them, just like everything in the pandemic, it is a little bit hit and miss, but for sure, the hospitality and tourism industry still is making up for some of the lost time that they had in 2020. So,
now putting your feet to the fire, because I know this is difficult and you guys do an excellent job. We have an idea of when people will be able to apply and then when we can start issuing money.
I don't want to put a date today. But I'm going to say shortly after the first of the year. And my goal is to make it as short as possible after the first of the year. Andrew and I just need to finalize a couple of the guidelines. Once I have that set, then that, the application follows the guidelines. So we have kind of a mock-up all set up in our system, but we need to finalize that, run some testing on that. And then I want to have at least a week to 2 weeks to offer information and just tell people what they need to prepare for, precisely because it's first come, first serve. So I don't want I know there will be still a big rush on the first day, but I don't want people to get at the last minute and then have to apply the next day. So we do want to make sure that we can do that, but I'm hopeful to do it as quick as possible. We have a full year of things happening next year, so I want to get moving on it as well.
Is this for businesses only? I'm thinking in the tourism industry, there's a couple bird sanctuary.
Yep. Nonprofits would be fine as well. Yeah. And that is how the state grant operated. So it was profit and nonprofit. They just have to be in those industries primarily. And again, another good thing is, there's plenty of businesses that do multiple things. And so, if they need to have a little more than a toe in these industries, right? But if they're doing a couple things, I mean, as long as, the majority of their money or things are coming from within that industry, then they can qualify. That would be under their NAICS code. So again, we'll have more, like complete frequently asked questions, all the stuff that we did kind of in that first round. We'll have all that available. And the holiday should be a little quiet for us. So I'm hoping to take advantage of that to get all this stuff ready.
Have you determined what caps there could be on certain businesses?
Caps in terms of their award amount?
Yes.
Yeah. So it'll be $10,000, $20,000, and $30,000. The maximum 30,000, they would have to demonstrate they had over a 51% loss during a time period compared to 2019. So it's pretty significant. There probably are some businesses that will hit that. I'd be curious actually to know, again, we're following the state's guidelines. I don't know what the average amount from the state was. I'd be curious to know that actually. Probably would help us to forecast a little bit what to expect, but yeah. And we do look at, what all they took in. So not just their sales revenue, but if they received other forms of assistance, it's kind of an all-in income number that we're looking at. So.
Jody, can I ask?
Please.
You're the media.
The one group that I'm remembering is we had some local bars in the downtown Carousel district area and such that when there were shutdowns and curfews and those types of things, that was pretty much all that their clientele operates on, is having people come in for drinks or food. So they definitely would qualify.
Absolutely. Pretty much any food. I forget what the NAICS code, the 3-digit NAICS code is, but not necessarily retail, but bars, restaurants, coffee shops, bakeries, to-go places, anything like that should qualify. The Renaissance would qualify, the Bird Sanctuary, other theaters, the Playhouse could qualify, and then lodging. So hotels, bed and breakfasts, and we talked about bus companies or kind of things that are tangential to tourism, but largely speaking, they're in those areas. So, yeah. And that's a good example, Greg, of a business that probably potentially has seen that amount of loss, because even when they were allowed to open back up, there was definitely a lot of restrictions on alcohol, establishments serving alcohol. So, I'm sure they have experienced probably a larger decline, but we'll see.
Okay. Al, Carl, do you have any questions?
In terms of the figuring out the award amounts, 10, 20, or 30, is that strictly going to be based on demonstration of a percentage of business or revenue lost? Is that how that gets figured?
Yep, that is exactly how it will be calculated. So they'll show us, and it just like in the first round, keep in mind, we asked for proof and documentation of everything. That will be the same in this round. So they will have to show us tax returns, things like that can really demonstrate that loss. And that is basically exactly how it's calculated, Al.
That's Carl.
Carl. I thought it was Al.
We all look the same on the internet. It's okay. And how long, Jody, do you have a timeline for how long it will take to expend this $1 million?
That's a great question. I don't think it will take long personally, judging by what happened in the first round. And so, we'll have to talk. I do believe that there's one other entity that will be giving us some dollars. And that's the city of Mansfield. I don't have a dollar figure yet, but of course, when they passed their ARPA dollars back a couple months ago, they did allocate some funding for economic development, with some of it being earmarked for this program. So now that,
Work on that.
I don't. So, but yeah, I will, of course, just like I did in the first round, I'll keep the commissioners and Andrew updated on how quick money is going and what we're still seeing and the application generation there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna, that was gonna be probably my last question is, what has the city indicated what dollar amount they're willing to put into this?
Not 100%. So I do think I will have that fairly quickly. I did talk to the mayor about it recently, but they were still discussing a couple numbers. So I don't want to say for sure. It will be less than the county.
Judy, how many businesses approximately participated in the last program?
I believe it was 467.
You have to keep in mind now, this is much more scaled back this time.
Yeah.
This is targeted.
Yeah. Something like 467. We gave away a little over $2.7 million. And the maximum grant amount in those awards was $7,500. So we're talking about potentially, well, even the base amount will be larger than last time, but less businesses.
Okay, and for the commissioners, would you consider, using more ARPA funds in the future for this kind of program, depending on, the success and, other ideas that you have for ARPA funds?
I think that our future ARPA funds that we will put out there are pretty much open right now. We'll have to see how things go. There's going to be a lot of projects that we'll be looking at. So I wouldn't rule it out, nor would I push it forward at this time.
Okay, that's all that I had.
They asked a question that made me have a question. So the $1 million this is strictly from the county's allocation. So is this grant program going to be more for, obviously you mentioned the city of Mansfield, a lot of the, the main hub for entertainment and restaurants is within the city. So is this going to go to more our outlying areas, or is it?
The county money can be spent anywhere in the county. City dollars will have to be restricted to businesses within the city. And so how that worked the first time around was we gave the more restricted money first and then the less restrictive money. It kind of depends this time on when I actually get the city's dollars versus the county's, but it would essentially be the same. We'll try to, spend the more restrictive stuff, with businesses within Mansfield. But there's a lot, obviously, outside of the city of Mansfield, all the villages and cities have a significant amount of restaurants at the very least. So I don't think there'll be any issue with that this time.
Good catch.
Okay. Anything anybody wants to add? If not, it's 10:34 and we will stand adjourned. Thank you very much, Cody.
Thanks. Yes.
Greg, when you get packed up, come in the office. Thank you.
Thanks for giving that forward.
Nice work, Jody and Andrew.